Hello, and welcome once again to the EPL Season 3 playoffs. We're here in the, it seems that there are some technical difficulties. Can you... Okay. Oh, so there's no sound from you. Not sure if it's muted or you need to reload the Vemix. But let's see. We are here for the EPL Season 3 playoffs. There's no more lies, no more lower bracket. We are... Well, the lower bracket should beat the upper one, right? As Team Unity will play versus Back2TheGame. The loser is out, placed 4th in the whole season. The winner will go into the top 3 to try his luck to at least get into the final. So, I'm Ref, here's Doctor. Doctor, how do you feel about the matchups today?
Don't ask me a question. Wait, actually, maybe they can't hear me now.
Oh god, okay, we can hear you.
Oh, we're in draft.
Yeah,
excellent times. Alright, I'm hit.
Okay,
I
so
unplugged my microphone one time.
We see Back2TheGame, they had side selection. They selected red side already. A lot of actually jungle pressure. Shaibo has his Lilia band away, of course, and the Maokai is still very oppressive after all those nerfs. And we're back to the Varus B1, which I'm not a huge fan of. Just because, yes, it's very oppressive in lane. But have you checked its win rate? I think it's like closer to 35% than 50%.
Yeah, okay, it hasn't been great to be fair, but I think, yeah, like, the lane is pretty powerful. I think a lot of times people have been playing the poke Varus, and it's sort of not getting the job done. It's a very different thing to do when you do the poke Varus. Your team is built around it. What has happened quite often is like they get the early Varus pick, and then a team will build sort of into which were like either no frontline or two range, or they go full frontline, but for whatever reason the AD still has to go poke. It's like, oh, we can't actually hit. What I will say is that when we saw Unity play up on Wednesday, they were absolutely nailing front to back. Like it was pure Kino. It was flawless. In the as I was saying before we went, Jerky was playing this Senna, right? And it was very simple. He's like, okay, we got tank top, we got tank jungler. Wind was going absolutely ballistic with it. He was, despite not having, actually, he did also have the KDA, but he was just distracting like 3 people on both his Cassante and Olaf. And whilst we were praising the bot lane a lot, it was all Wind. What was beautiful is that Jerky is sitting there, he's playing the Senna, he's playing it perfect, and they're always getting full value from things like his Q and his ult, which are applying his cleaver, and you know he's a GOAT because he built Hurricane, which is amazing on front-to-back Senna comps. And so if I'm sitting here and knowing like, okay, not only can these guys like draft the comp, but they can actually execute it properly, which is really hard to do. I'm more than happy to see Neza lock in something like an attack speed Varus. They've pulled this one off many times before. It was an absolute treat to watch. But you know what? Versus the Jarvan, maybe not.
I mean, I think you can still play the Lethality Virus as well with the Senna. Especially with the Cleaver, right? You do apply another Q, 4 stacks of the Cleaver, suddenly your Lethality provides you so much true damage on the enemy squishy backline or even the front lane, right? If you have their armor, then Lethality starts becoming way more efficient. Thing is, I am not a huge fan. I pride myself in being like a Senna connoisseur. But I don't like Hurricane Senna, at least in support. I feel like you don't have the income.
He makes it happen. They're popping. But I forgot that the Q also like applies multiple stacks of cleaver, right? Yeah, it's not just one hit.
It has auto attack, so it's 2 on any auto attacks and 2 on Q.
Yeah, so it goes huge. The cleaver goes crazy, not only for AoEing out cleaver procs. Sorry, the Hurricane goes crazy for AoE cleavers, but also for farming, for wave clear, and getting souls as well. Absolutely huge. Either way, it won't be seen, but I don't think that Unity wanted to pick it. Like, huge respect is being put on them to ban it away from Jerky here, but I'm looking at this comp and I'm saying, right, we've got a Jarvan versus our mobile Varus. I know what Jerky wants to pick. He wants to lock in the Poppy, and the fact that that has been left open, been allowed, a-okay for him. The only concern would, of course, then be is if Lofen goes ahead and locks on in a top laner here, because you don't really want to blind that Poppy into something like, for example, a Karma Ezreal type of lane, where, ooh, we can't really disengage anything. Oh, they picked Rakan! Whoa, it's 2-3! Oh, Jerky, lock in Poppy. He goes crazy on the Poppy. And it's an amazing lane for him.
Would you call Poppy here, or honestly, I'd prefer something like the Rel or the Alistar. Neither of those are banned. And I know what you're talking about. Like, it's a count. Like, Rakan can play the game, Jarvan can really play the game, but that's the only thing you do, right? You're there standing on top of your backline, half of which tries to dive the enemy team, right? With the Ahri trying to follow up any engages. I'd love to see someone trying to punish the Hui. Like a big AoE engage.
Very true.
Which will allow the Ahri to go in there, find the charm, find the reset, and then your reset comp starts rolling.
True, but let it be known, Jerky's the GOAT on Poppy. And whilst you're right, yes, so it does disengage. I will say as well, I don't hate the, what do you call it? Like, in terms of like Poppy, you talk about, like disengaging versus versus engage. People talk about her W a lot. I'm like, bro, you can just pick it in any city. In top lane, you can pick it into anything. But in bot lane, yeah, you do at least need to be disengaging. But even though you can't engage onto the Vega, right? What? The team who want to dive, but they also don't need to. Like, you can have the Xin be, an early game ganking tool, and then sort of play defensive, similarly to how a Renekton functions in lane. You can have the Ahri fishing for charms and just playing for a bit of poke, and you just let your lethality Varus do the work. You can kind of match the Hui. If you're fortunate, you will be able to get onto the Hui eventually with some sort of like Ahri flank. But again, just Jerky has been so goated with the source on this Poppy, as well as on his Maokai. The locking it in, it's like just complete objective control, complete denial of stopping you being able to do anything. No one can engage onto him. The lane has now been handed to you because the Rakan is great for Poppy because he's so telegraphed, has so many dashes as well. And then when the Jarvan goes in, W to stop him flag dragging either in or out of his ult. And when he ults, you can just stun him inside his own Cataclysm.
Yeah, that's actually true. There are a lot of options there, but the only my only concern is what if Back2TheGame doesn't do anything? Okay, because they have a perfect team comp to wait for you to run into them, right? The Rakan can also be used as a PO and then re-engage on top of you. The Hui loves it when people run into him. The Darius as well, and the Jarvan then he can be used as a PO as well. He can be used as a space creator for his team. So. Unless you're really far ahead and you can actually dictate the pace of the game, I feel that Unity won't always have the perfect flank or the perfect tools, and you're just relying on Jerky's mastermind.
But who says you have to go into them? For what? I think the scaling is relatively similar for both teams, right? The top laners are identical. Well, the junglers are identical, but top laners are close enough in terms of scaling. So that's what they actually do, a bit different. But, they're both good early, and then they sort of fall off. Fine. Junglers serve exactly the same purpose in the fight. Hui does outscale on mid, but we also have Varus, right? Who outscale the Ezreal and can actually poke through frontliners. So neither team has to do anything. There's a few more pick tools available, I think, to Unity in terms of like Charm and Chains of Corruption. But then also, because they have the Poppy and a bit of a safer frontline, comparing a Renekton versus a Darius, basically. If both teams do nothing in any given situation, eventually Unity can sort of just slowly move their way up to the Baron and just start it, right? And if anyone walks in, you get chained, you get arrowed. And if the Baron gets low, Poppy ult, boom, it's free, it's a lock. So I don't think Unity are really under any pressure to get anything done, but I do think it's kind of funny that I was talking about how, when we were saying about the Varus win rate is low, I was like, if anyone's going to play the on-hit Varus like a champ, it's going to be Neza. There's a pretty good chance he just goes for poke Varus here instead.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to match the range a little bit, right? Otherwise, it's really hard to play into the Ezreal, really hard to play into the Hui as well. So you're kind of always outrange, always pressured if you're playing a proper front-to-back. But yeah, let's see, because Team Unity actually played an excellent front-to-back game last time we saw them. Back2TheGame might be a little bit more tired. They had a full 3-game best-of-3 yesterday versus WL Gaming, where they were struggling in 3 early games in a row, but managed to secure that victory. And let's see if Team Unity can actually put a little bit more pressure.
It's just, you're gonna... Whew. Just me, once you see the Unity come through on this, I mean... For me, Jerky stocks are through the roof, and you're going to see why. We have gone for the lethality Varus, so incredibly strong early with that Comet, right? We're going to have Comet damage and Scorch damage on top of that. Jerky has gone Hail of Blades, which is again just all for that all-in burst early game. And looking on Nova, it's like, okay, you know, Lofin's got cleansed, but the stun doesn't actually last that long level 1, so if we keep an eye on that bot lane just for the first and second level, if a good pin comes on through for Jerky, the lane's just over already. Then maybe they don't guarantee a kill, but it gets so difficult very, very quickly for Back to the Game.
I mean, a quarter already loses quite a significant amount of HP. I saw that Jerky was there guarding the entrance, he saw the wall being put down, then instantly engaged. Now Coder is missing a hefty amount. Now he'll heal a little bit, Gleaming Quill helps with that a lot, but I don't think they'll have the first move in the first level. Jerky. Okay, that was an interesting move. I don't know if he can... if that's the Jerky mastermind, so masterful gambit.
He's throwing him off. E into minion to get an empowered auto. To be fair, I've done this many times. Usually it's when someone's on 2 health and I have like a grasp proc, as opposed to 3 seconds into the lane. You know, it's, hey, Eing to extend your passive, you know, that's a tried and tested strat. A quarter does have to be careful here. They're backing off. Like, Unity are giving a lot of control here. I don't know if maybe Jerky has a cooldown or if it's just yet based off the wave state. But I feel like there's a world where, I've seen Jerky do it, where a quarter's walking up and the minion's a little bit too high. You just run in, you go for the pin and see what you can do. But they do also have, like, poke advantage, right? Everyone thinks that Ezreal is the super long range, and he is. But if you're standing behind your wave, so look at that. Ian, hello Q. What?
That was actually weird from Jerky again, because he used the just to press a Q, an ignite spin from a core immediately, making sure that those potions are not as effective as he'd wish them to be. So now they're getting an HP advantage, and you know what? The theory is all fine, but I think that Back to the Game won that bottom lane. Did you see the emote game?
God, no. He just ignited for nothing. So
no, man, it's the mental game. It's the BDS emote plus the ignite, saying I don't even need the ignite, man. You're so free.
I mean, I do like what Jerky's about here. Good, actually, recognition there from a quarter that once Jerky goes to ward, he knows that's basically his only chance to find a W is going to be then. It's like, okay, Jerky's level 2 and he's not here. It's going to be hard to find anything else after. So Neza does need to be careful here, as he doesn't have heal or anything like that. Jerky doing a good job of body blocking. Cheeky Bricky invade up on top side. Scheibel. Ooh, spotted out by Cozy, but he won't go any further. Mid lane is moving on up, but not getting too crazily involved. But what I wanted to say about bot is that Jerky sort of recognizes well that outside that level... Oh, man, what's going on with wind? What's going on? I'm moving the camera up.
He's in trouble. He needs to flash. He has ghosted, but will die anyways as he overextended.
Jerky with the bait of a lifetime.
There's the ignite, and there's the kill as well. They didn't expect Jerky to be sitting there in folk, and they are trapped by his masterful gambit.
So he tanked a lot of Qs. He was body blocking for Nezza. I saw on the minimap that he went so far back, and I didn't clock he was still there, but I'm like, what's he doing? Like, what vision's he trying to go get? You know, we know that we know Jarvan's top. We're fine. He's just baiting. He's faking a recall, and I'll be honest, it's not a great fake because Nezza has TP. So why would he be the one? Like, why would Jerky recall, who has HP regen, when Nezza could be the one to base TP back, and then Jerky can, or they can reset together? Like, doesn't really make a lot of sense to leave Nezza alone on 2 health, but it works, and it's a great little turnaround there, little free kill picked up.
That it does. Once again, a shaky early game from the side of Back to the Game. It gets capitalized on by Team Unity perfectly. The Varus ahead of the curve already, an extra longsword in his inventory. The Croc as well, completing the plated steel caps, which are so important in all those melee skirmisher matchups, right? All that extra armor, that extra mobility will help you play the game better. But Jerky, he tried to dash in, but suddenly he got very afraid.
Very spooked, very scared. Forced on out.
Tis the season.
I got nearly. Kids in their Halloweens. Be a little bit careful there. He has lost control of that there bot side river. Off the back of that gank, so you need to be careful. I don't think the Drake is being done, but the crab was secured as Jerky takes the cone, has to go the very long way around, and has lost a lot of XP here, but arguably that's not too much of a bad thing, right? The Poppy, not very level reliant. Ultimately, you are just your abilities, and Jerky's now got all 3 of those, and with Nezza hitting level 6 now before Loaf and Accorda, you do have opportunity to look for a really strong level 6 all-in, once you get that Chains of Corruption. If you throw that onto Accorda, he's level 4, no cleanse, throw an ignite down on top, like, could well be a pretty free kill being picked up, especially with Shazq pathing now away from bot lane.
Yeah, especially considering that even though it's a very, very slow projectile, usually a Coda will be the one trying to close the distance between the two of you, so he's gonna give you those options, more likely than not, trying to poke you out, seeing that you play an immobile champion, and then in the 1-1 low, then should have the upper hand. On the other side of the map, Unity already collecting the first grab. They have the first move from the top side, but now Shazq just walks in, might try to look for an angle. It's a 1-for-1, grabs, smited away, the claw hits Scheibel. There's a lot of HP and Akoda is there first, but it's 2-for-1. Now they're engaging. Nowhere is the W to be found, but Jerky gets a lot of damage down on the Jarvan. Shazq will end up dropping for Deathlock, and that's the other reset. But Loden is also first. They're looking to get the double kill. There's the mid lane and those Change of Corruption 2 hit, but Loden channels his E and goes away.
I thought it was a bit mad that both ADs started moving up to the fight as well. I thought, surely this is going to be over before they get there. And once I saw Lothar move, I'm thinking, it's a bit of a misplay for Neza to move as well. Like, play's going to be over. Just Neza can keep pushing out bot and get himself a bit of advantage. Keep growing his XP, grows gold. But he commits to the play as well, and it ends up mattering that Lothar was going all the way up there. You know, I thought Lothar was throwing. But he gets there just before Neza. The fight's very briefly, you know, an extra member in favor. They managed to pick up not only a kill, they get one of the grubs as well, and then also get the ult from Neza on the way out, because by the time he arrives, no one's really in a position to be able to follow up on the chains. And so this has worked out pretty well for Back to the Game's bot lane, as you can see now, the wave gets pushed out by Neza, so it's going to crash on in. Lothar can catch all of that, and there's no opportunity to play for like a Drake or something, because Scheibel is still top, and the chains aren't available. So really just a free wave getting crashed on in favor of Back to the Gamers. Nez actually teleports back to a solo bot lane with no wave.
Ooh. There's a dominance being popped. Flag and Drag make sure that he's stunned, but Scheibel will connect. The Noxian Guillotine will claim his head, and Scheibel's as well. Double kill for Cozy.
Ooh, it's greedy from Wind. Ooh, he's holding on. He was trying to get just one more auto, get a bit more fury so he could get the most healing out of his Q. And before he can get it off, before he can get that 50% threshold, boom, the guillotine comes on through. And that is a cheeky reset. 5 stacks going on. That's just an easy double kill for the Darius. And that is something to be scared of, because Unity are sort of relying on everything being even. If they're ahead, great. But if not, everything being even is pretty good for them. But you know, a Darius getting strong and being able to beat the Renekton, that means that there's potentially going to be some sort of split push threat in a world where Unity really just want 5 people stood next to each other and they want to let Neza do his job. If Darius is moving around, if he's winning 1v1s and 1v2s, that's really going to throw a spanner in Unity's plans.
Coder will lose half of his HP, but those are the Chains of Corruptions as well. He keeps hold of his flash, or he'll still able to play the game, especially considering that he should be getting closer and closer to his level 6 spike. And with Neza having no cleanse, only his flash to play with might not be enough. If he gets caught once, that could be the end of him. There's no Total coming back in the lane. Jerky once again fakes a recall. Still hovers around the lane. But Darius is the one that makes the Adam move. He's already moving the mid lane. And if you claim that ultimate, that's great. There's a first, there's a second, and now you have an extra tool to play with in that Drake fight.
It's going to cost Cozy, but he may lose a plate, lose a wave, but he does get the Ari ult, but hang about.
We'll need to flash away. Jerky is there, but that's the steadfast presence, making sure that he is in range. Collects the life of the enemy jungle. That means that there's no Drake fight to be had. Top lane
is traded.
Skirmishing around.
What's going on
Slice
up there?
and dies away.
Ooh,
Wind
5 stacks.
will manage to skip with his life, but no summoners for him.
Yes, nearly ends up going down. He did have 5 stacks on him. He was very close to getting guillotined. It will not happen that way. As that's crazy that Cozy can just go bot. Oh, sorry, he can go mid, and then he can just walk his way back up top, force a flash out, nearly kill his lane, and then carry on as is. He's now going to get himself a plate up there, and also that ghost is going to come up before Wind's flash, right? So even though they'll both be flashless, Cozy will be in a good spot to be able to try and run on Wind, especially with all the gold from these plates that he's going to secure. He's going to be pretty strong. He's going to be getting that stride breaker very early, and see, he is going to move on over to the Grubs. I was wondering if he'd take this opportunity to reset, but he values the team a little bit as a quarter now. Slightly caught,
away. It has a quickness that Everything connects, but there's the very nice movement for Shamble, making sure that the Spiraling Dispel will not deal any sort of damage, but I think that means that the grabs will not be contested. They should belong to Back2TheGame. And if they secure the 4 grabs, they'll have the mites as well. Of course, their marksman is on the other side of the map.
Yeah, good.
I feel that
I say, yeah, good job
marksman
from
is
Wind.
not the issue, because there's Cozy here. And Cozy is very strong at this moment.
That is true. I was going to say Wind cancels his recall, makes it so that Lofen can't reset and come on over. But actually, yeah, we don't really need Lofen. Cozy can just sort of walk towards people. Accorda has to be careful here.
He just runs in. There's a Grand Tenders. Gets everyone there. Deathlock, no mana, has to Spirit Rush his way away. Jerky, however, gets the retaliation kill on Cozy. And now on an even footing, I'm not sure who gets the last grab. Maybe it's Back2TheGame because they do have a jungler. But he's playing with fire. He wants to get the blue buff as well. And now he has no smite.
Yeah, I think it's probably not going to be too contested, though. Vision, not the best, and Neza doesn't really want to walk up, so it will be handed on over. And Cozy went down very quickly there, actually. He just got completely tapped inside of Jerky's stun. Not sure if Neza chains out onto him, or if Neza had any stacks of the Blight on him before that stun, because afterwards he did just pop. Unfortunately, Jerky has now gotten 2 of the kills on these plays, but We've also seen this one before. I think he ended up 7-1 or something in one of his previous Poppy games. He does sort of just end up getting the last hit a lot, but that is unfortunately a bit par for the course for Poppy, wherein once you're in, you're in. You can't really afford to try and hand over the kill, because there's a very good chance that someone can either can flash out or something, and you just have to keep hitting them. As Saskia should be able to dash out. Oh no!
There's a flash. Saskia no access to his own flash. Will have the ultimate maybe, but will not use it. There's no reason to get everyone in. The kill goes to Wind. Wind is a happy little croc.
I was just a bit terrified there as you can see Jerky not going to take the kill that time. There's a...
Be careful, but no ultimate. Unfortunately for him, will not be able to connect onto Neza enough for Loven to close the distance. Once again, a positive map play for the side of Team Unity.
I thought there was a world where Shadsky just walks out top. Jerky's trying to hand it over. He walks away from the Darius Q, so he walks his W away from the Jarvan. But get it done as chains come out, but there's not really any follow-up, and what it does is just dissuade a dive. I don't know if the chains are 100% necessary for Unity to fight themselves, but they definitely would have liked to have them if they could. But in either case, there'll be a... I think it's just looking to be a bit of a wave clear angle after Lofen dropped his ult on the wave itself.
Game slows down a little bit. There's no neutral objective to fight for the next 10 seconds at least. Then the Rift Herald will be spawning, but I don't see many teams trying to rush the Herald. Takes quite a lot of time, and teams want to make sure that they have nothing else to do on the map to secure it. But Accorder is already moving.
Yes.
No flash. Quickness is up though.
Yeah, interesting actually that Jerky has stayed bot, because both supports very happy to roam, especially when you have Varus Ezreal, who are just pretty safe versus each other, and especially when Neza doesn't have chains. Even if he does have chains, there's cleanse and you can buffer them with E, as we saw earlier. But that would be the one time you could maybe look to try and collapse in a 2v1. But without those, Jerky is sort of sticking around bot for not a lot. He has now made his way up to the top side of the map, and nothing was really lost in the process, so can't complain too much. But it looks like this Herald getting lower and lower as Cozy starts off by getting a good trade onto Wind.
Ooh. Sees what an excellent fear over there. Jerky loses half of his HP as well, and no flash for him to play with. The top set's already fine, the Dominus has been popped, but the Renekton is not as tanky as he'd like to be. Will most likely get guilty. No, but Shashki will flash away, and everything misses. Ends up dying to the bleed. And in the end, Scheibel is being left to feed the boss.
It's a rough one. Wind doesn't die to the O itself, but he's fighting Cozy for a fair bit before that fight, before we get vision on it. So the stacks are already there. The passive's already up, and it means that sure, Cozy doesn't get the kill or the reset on Wind, but just he's now got 50 extra AD or whatever it is, and one auto onto Scheibel, boom, he's now bleeding a huge amount. Not a lot to be done. So we have got ourselves a couple of options now for back to the game. I still stand that Jerky and Neza are going to be absolute menaces, but we do have a lot of gold coming in onto the way. Sisyph has gotten a fair few of these last hits, and the Darius is just proving to be quite the threat up in the top side. It's beating Wind in the 1v1s, potentially winning out the 1v2s. and it's going to be an absolute menace when it comes to splitting later on. As both teams now seem to mosey their way on over towards this Cloud Drake, but let it be known, Accorda not having the ult himself and Jerky being able to just hammer anyone out. It does make me think that this Drake should be a relatively simple secure for Unity. But Back to the Game may still want to try and contest it anyway.
Yeah, they don't really need to contest it, right? It's still the second Drake, pretty late in the game, we're already 17, 16 minutes in. You do have access to the Herald, but Jerky is looking to punish Askew. There's the Charm Connect as well. The ultimate is being popped and will be most likely forced away. No, it's not. It expires and Jerky will use a very nice first person on the other side. Accorda loses the majority of his HP, but will survive the oncoming onslaught. Now everyone's moving towards the bottom side and maybe there's gonna be the Herald answer.
See if that one gets deployed on out there by Jarvan. I mean, to get just an outer turret at 16 mins, I don't know if it's the most necessary in the world. First turret should be picked up pretty soon, actually, as Cozy wants to be able to just walk on up to that one and finish it off. But I think he's a little bit scared that if he walks up, he's going to have to auto-W it, and then Wind is going to be able to potentially look for an all-in just in that like 5-second window. So Cozy going to wait, going to allow the minions to come on through. And actually, I thought he was going to scrap with Wind a little bit here. Because if he gets any damage onto Wind, that spawns a guy, which gets true damage on the turret from the dot. But he doesn't need it. He's just got his whole team to turn up through instead. Jerky is forced away from clearing out that ward.
Can never be engaged upon, but at least by the Jarvan whatever I can. And that's his greatest strength right now. Holding the steadfast presence means that nobody can actually use their buttons on you, but simultaneously that means that Sashka and Accorda can still hold their own buttons and be a threat in general towards the whole of the enemy team. That's gonna hard a little bit. There's against the keeper's perspective. They push one away and then Cozy needs to flash as Accorda pops the ultimate as well. Gets 2-3 into the air. Cozy heals up quite a bit and the charm will miss. Scheibel will not connect with the mid-cast landing as well. And that's a huge overload from the side of Team Unity, who are losing pressure in the mid lane and in the bot lane simultaneously.
Yeah, committing a TP, but not a lot. And honestly, I kind of think... Oh, hang on. Gotta be careful here, Shazku. Bit scared, but not going to get charmed up. Deathlock too far away. And, you know, I'm kind of thinking if Cozy kept walking forwards, they can even win the 3v4. But they recognize they don't need to. They say, hey, look, hey, free TP. We now have Scissor absolutely chilling in bot. He's going to get that full turret. So we've gone from no turrets to 2 very quickly, both in favor of Back to the Game. Cozy is low on mana up here, but Wind's not made of health either, so I think both top laners need to be a bit scared. The second the jungler gets here, it really is over. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Jerky making their way on over, trying to find a gank out onto Scissor, who does not have flash down in the bottom lane. Jerky's going the long way around, but looks like Deathlock is not going to get involved. He's going to play for the wave instead. And so Jerky will not find out a kill here, but you can tell he's trying.
I mean, yeah, unless you go for the die, but it's a very risky thing to do. Now, the best thing for Back to the Game is that they didn't even use the Herald to get those 2 first towers, so now you can use it to pry up on the mid lane. That suddenly opens up such a long area for you to play in the enemy jungle. Oh, Jerky, he might be in trouble.
Oh, it's the horror.
That's a solo bolo.
That's the one thing that Poppy's going to lose to. Is someone like a Hui just throwing all sorts at you from miles away. And you can also tell that Jerky's not very tanky, especially when it comes to dealing with poke. You know, he's got the Swifties. He went for the Blood Song. He wants that upfront burst. And then you get the Deadman's play. He just wants move speed. He wants to get around the map. He wants to get involved, and he wants to all-in someone with that move speed. So getting poked out, especially by magic damage, is really his biggest weakness at this point of the game, and frankly at most points of the game. So he is going to need to put a little bit of respect on the Scissor name, as the Herald just gets deployed top, and not really a lot Wind can do here.
You can use the Dominos. He gets a little bit poked out, and there's the Keeper's Verdict threatening the disengage once again. The Herald didn't do too much, but doesn't need to. A lot of damage done on the top side tower. Suddenly, if Cozy managed to collect it, that 650 gold more in his pocket will complete the second item for sure.
It's actually better that the turret didn't go down, because Cozy can sort of force that turret whenever he wants, but now he gets all the gold. You know, if you take that too close to after the time Shazka drops the Herald, you're going to split the local gold, right? Well, even if Shazka can get far away, that range is pretty big when someone's hit the turret recently. So now, Cozy can just walk down top. Okay, never mind, he's buffing to Drake. I was going to say he just walked top, get that turret, draw some pressure there whilst his team plays for the Drake. Easy 600 gold. But he's actually looking to get involved at the objective itself instead. And he is pretty strong, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, and it's also a very nice Drake to have. Considering I'm looking at the items from Team Unity side, there's lethality and flat AD, not a lot of penetration for from the, or a lot of damage at least from the Ahri. So if you manage to collect a couple of those mountain drakes without giving any soul point leverage over to Team Unity, you should be feeling really nice into all of the up and coming skirmishes, right? Even if you end up giving a couple of turrets, you're still gonna be ahead in gold. You have secured yourself a very nice 3.5k gold lead. So you should suddenly be much more willing to just run into the enemy team and try to slap them with your base stats.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very useful for them. And looks like it should just be handed on over with Unity playing for the top side instead. But one thing to note is that Unity in a straight 5v5 right now are actually rather weak. When you consider that, Deathlock hasn't finished item, and, the Malignance doesn't really do a lot of damage. And then also Wind hasn't finished stacking up his tier. That's a big problem for Varus, is how long that thing takes. Especially as he didn't get Muramana first. He was just sitting on the tier, and he finished that, which got the opportunity instead. Meanwhile, Lawfin has had his Muramana for a long time. So there is a world where Unity are just sort of waiting. They're saying, right, this is just our sort of awkward spot. It's a 2-item Ezreal versus, a 1-item, effectively, Varus. And we said, okay, fine. They can just have this one for the next few minutes. Let's not do anything crazy. We just wait until we've hit our spikes, because now Horizon Focus is coming on through for the Ashe, for the Ahri even, and it's only whatever that is, 5 autos or so going out from Nezza that will be needed to finish stacking up that Muramana. So we've handed over the Drake, but we're looking very strong if we want to contest an early Baron.
I mean, at least for the next couple of minutes, right? Because after that, it's gonna get harder and harder. You still have 2 items on Cozy versus an item and a half effectively on the Renekton. The moment that we're gonna see the Void stuff completed for Sisyph, it's gonna be way harder for you to play the game. The moment you see that Bloodthirster completed on load, and I feel like it's gonna be Bloodthirster, it's gonna be way harder for you to land your poke, land anything that will make sure that she can actually deal with him immediately, like 100 to 0 him. There's a flash.
Ooh. Hang about, looking for a potential engage. DP comes through.
Oh, Accorder misses hit the ground entrance and is getting chomped down upon Wind. Gives the kill over to... They might look for something more. There's still 1 dash, but they are turning their attention.
Oh, they're looking towards the Baron. They don't have Sisyph, but his teleport is just coming up now, so he will be able to join in. It is worth noting, neither team has a particularly fast Baron. They'd rather get the kills first, and that might be what happens here.
Oh, they're engaging on.
Cozy just wins this 1v2.
He's somehow getting over everything.
Fine.
Now he can actually 1v2. He can use the Noxian kill him. That's so much damage. The Chain of Corruption will connect, but that's not enough on him. And Jerky saves himself and the teammate, but not for long. Wind re-engages. That's the Ruthless Predator getting the kill and the shutdown for himself. But Sashku, he has not said his final word. He wants to give his team a lot more time, and they're getting the mid tier 2, the bot tier 2 as well. And then they can also turn towards the top side, as the tower is very low from the Rift Herald. There's engage. Tribal tries to knock up Sashku, but Sashku just flags and drags his way away. There's just the right place.
Alright, Days. It's scary stuff that Cozy can nearly do that one entirely solo. His control is handed on over, but the turret will stand, as will the Baron. A couple of camps taken away, at least as a consolation prize. As we see actually Jerky moving down bot, so Unity may end up just handing over that tower over on the top side. Lofen will actually be able to pick that one up. But can they at least get a shutdown on Sisyph?
Oh, Sisyph is getting pinned to the wall and is executed, and 650 gold shutdown goes to Deathlock, and suddenly I don't feel too bad about Team Unity.
Yeah, so very important that the money goes over to the Ahri. Absolutely, they're being picked up, because when I'm looking at the comp right now, I still stand. I love the... Oh my god, Nezza's just done.
Needs to flash away, but I think he's still dead. Jerky, so much damage! It's a 1-for-1. The shutdown goes again for the target of Team Unity, but there's a re-engage. Shasku gives a lot of space for his team. Cozy sticks on Scheibel, and Scheibel will drop. Cozy gets the extra kill credit. Now they turn their attention towards the Baron buff, but with no marksman and no way. I'm not sure if they can actually do it.
They don't really have any damage for this one. It may not stop them from trying. They feel confident because Scheibel is dead. It's a smite versus none, but Jerky's here. You don't actually have a smite. If you just get your jungler ulted out the pit, this could be a horror. You know, TP comes through for Deathlock and Sisyph as well. Jerky, this could be a really easy steal.
Wind is there, they're looking for that angle, 3k HP, he pops it, he gets two people away, and then they need to flash off! You just said it! They need to finish it! And can they do it? No! It's getting stolen away by Hui! What's going on in this game? And Shashki wants some more. The Dominus doesn't help Wind a lot, but Wind will now turn his attention onto Sashki. The double kill goes over the Ahri, and Cozy is still chasing people, but they still carry 3 purple buffs, so they can just push with them.
At least managed to pick that one up. I think it was Hui's just dots on the floor that ended up getting the Baron itself. The ult a little early coming through from Jerky. Well, you know, a safe time for sure, but once they get knocked out of the pit, they realize, oh, we actually don't have any burst. Like, between the 3 of us, there's not really a lot we can do to just knock this thing down from the 1700 or so. And it just means it takes a bit too long. Time is bought. Sisyph can, well, he flashed out of the pit, and he's then able to go ahead and just drop a little bit of damage, pick that one back up. So the Baron does go over, but a couple of kills are picked up as well. Something is actually maybe to hold this thought as Drake.
The Drake has started. Jarvan is still not there. He just left his base, so they're looking just to fight. Jerky is getting engaged on. He will end up dropping the guillotine, claims his head like he's a French aristocrat, but Chaibal, his ultimate means that he is still healthy. So they're losing the Drake. That's a soul point for the side of Team Unity, but there's still a minute and a half on that Baron, and Sashkill will get charmed. Still not enough. He can turn on the enemy team as he wishes.
That's the
and
good.
Looking to siege the mid lane inhibitor.
It's the good trade for Ahri at least, because you know don't actually have like all-in burst. This is not an assassination kind of build, but you just want to do that twice, maybe 3 times onto Shazkir. So anytime that you can get that poke off and get it safely, you are going to be happy. Keep an eye on Cozy. He is pushing his way up in that bot lane, and Jerky has now respawned. So any all-in potential, which was low without the quickening, but not impossible without Cataclysm. Jerky is now going to be able to at least dissuade that one, or outright stop it with the Keeper's Verdict. This tower is taken out in mid, and that inhibitor looks like it's actually it's pretty high health right now, but Unity, they're stuck between 2. We can't deal with the Darius on bot. We can't deal with the stack on mid.
The Redemption helps a lot, gives them a lot more effective HP for them to tank all of those spacing arrows. 3 people already bought, 1 hovering towards the bot side. I think that mid lane inhibitor should end up dropping. Win engages, pops the dominance as well, but there's another fight, and who dies? That's a Calder, but Jerky ends up following Shaibil. Will drop afterwards immediately, and there's still 24 seconds on the Baron buff. The charm hits. Sisyph still has the Sonya's Hourglass and will be safe for now. Flash Q gets the kill and wants to get another, but Wayne can't tank the Ezreal forever, and Slash Q will sacrifice himself for his team to collect another inhibitor tower and inhibitor. There's still a win on the top lane, but maybe they don't even need it.
They might try and look for the end here. Neza does have damage, and it's execute. If he lands for W-empowered Q onto Cozy, looks like instead he's just going for the wave. He's doing the smart thing. Give up 1 turret, but do not give up the game by trying to kill Cozy. In fact, the turret lives, and could be in a bit of a risk here, but the base is at least held. 2 inhibitors do fall, and crucially in that fight, Sisyph Zhonya's went crazy, because it bought 2.5 seconds, which was just enough time for Shazkyu to get the kill onto Deathlock, and then Sisyph goes down. If Sisyph goes down earlier, Deathlock gets the reset on the ult, 1 more charge, boom, they're out, they come back into the fight full health, it's a horror. But because Sisyph lived just a little bit longer, Deathlock does not get the assist in time, doesn't get the reset, and is not able to escape. Unfortunately, for Back2TheGame, they're not going to be able to pull that one again anytime soon until they actually finish the real Zhonya's in full for Sisyph there, but it's important to note as well, Jerky has sort of been tapped at the start of the last 2 fights. Like, if you get hard engaged on very, very quickly, unexpected in a way that you cannot counter, and then you get chain CC'd before you can get your W out, before you can get the ultimate off, that's when it gets pretty rough for the Poppy as well. So keep an eye on that one, because once Jerky falls, further engages are actually possible, and Cozy is going to be allowed to play the game as well.
Yeah, I think that Sisyph is looking to reset and just buy the completely Zhonya's Hourglass. He has got 900 gold in his pocket. I think it needs something like 450.
That's about what he spent.
Yep.
We'll have a look.
Exactly. So they will have the Zonias completed. So one more defensive tool flash. Most of their flashes, right? Cozy and Sashku missing theirs. But so does Wind and Deathlock. Deathlock, of course, still has access to 3 more dashes, so kind of safe for himself.
Yes.
So
well, if we could,
be able to keep.
Yeah, if we could see the items again, to see what was picked on up there is one thing to note that I think a big deal for Back to the Game for a long time in this match was that, sure, the bot lane of Unity were doing good, but Sisyph was way ahead of Deathlock, who didn't really have gold. And likewise, or he had gold, but he didn't have damage items, right? Just the Malignants. And Cozy is very strong as well. And so, whilst I like the comp still as a 5, and I like the abilities coming out from Unity, I say these two are just objectively better than their matches right now. Like, Cozy is objectively better than Wind, you know, in a vacuum, and as is Sisyph. So, whilst it's not impossible for Unity, there's still things that, you know. Oh, sorry, whilst Unity have like a good fight, it's still, there's some things to just be like, hey, Cozy and Sisyph are just better. But off of the back of that initial shutdown, basically, when Deathlock got the kill on Sisyph, he's actually now relevant, right? Like, he's got in the game, he's got the Horizon Focus and a Rabadon's finish now as well. So it's sort of finally gotten back to the point for Unity that they want, where it's like, okay, now it's not just the, you know, pick, disengage, Nether show. We can actually get good chunk out from our mage. It's not the same range and the same damage as a Hui, but now the Ahri is starting to do their job. Unfortunately, Wind on the Renekton still in a rough spot, as I think the Baron may have actually been started up. Oh, Poppy's in.
I think they started, but there is an engage. Sasku is 1 HP and will end up dropping a Cold. Finds engage on top of Jerky as well. Jerky will drop, but Scheibel is there, and the enemy team doesn't have a jungler. That ultimate wins a lot of space. Deathlock 1 HP low, then tries to follow up. That Q will connect, and Sisyph collects another kill for his team. And now he just tries to snipe the enemy team. He just tries to control the space. They have the man advantage. They can look into staging.
Sisyph don't do it.
To reset low, then he needs to flash. He has no Zonias, but he will survive as a quarter finds the engage. And there's Cozy saying hello from the bathroom door with his axe, making sure that you can get to walk for the next 40 seconds or so. There's a double back from Wind. I don't think that he can save the day, but he will certainly try.
He has not got the most health, and 2 waves coming in means he can't even thin that out, but he's going to look and give it a go. Jerky's up, but they don't have the ult. Wind is low.
Yep, and it's over. GG will play game 1, goes towards Back to the Game. They had their fair share of difficulties, but all in all, I say that it was a pretty calm, collected, and secure game from them.
Yeah, and I know so much was coming off the back of Cozy there, and I actually thought that the fight was, again, looking pretty bad for Unity. Cozy couldn't get 5 stacks off. He couldn't get his reset. He couldn't get his passive fully active. But they managed to pick up the second kill. They managed to take out Jerky. Jerky misses the ult. It was the one fight you can just watch it go perfectly between 2 sides. Like, ooh, the big disengage thing didn't disengage. That's kind of going to be a problem. And from there, the Darius can go crazy and can carry on through. I'm excited to see what comes up in the remainder of this series. I want to see what the adaptations are going to be. Surely we don't ban Darius. I think for a red side Unity, it's not really going to be a problem because you can get Wind onto a carry where he's comfortable, you know, with his Olaf or his Cassante in a good matchup. But what's really exciting to me is if this goes to game 3 and Unity don't get counter pick on top, I go, ooh, is Cozy going to do it again? Who's to say?
Well, I can't answer, but it certainly remains to be seen. As we're gonna go towards a quick break, we're gonna be right back with a banger game 2, so nobody miss it.
Welcome back, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. We find ourselves locked in and ready for Game 2 of this best of 3 series here at the EUPL Season 3. Once again, it will still be Team Unity coming up against Back2TheGame. Back2TheGame leading this series 1-0. And this is in the losers bracket as well. So whoever loses this game is getting knocked out of the... Sorry, whoever loses this series is getting knocked out of the tournament. If it's Unity, it's this game. If it's Back2TheGame, they can afford to lose one before we go to Game 3.
I mean, for sure. Thing is, did you see, we were talking a little bit in the green room, so I'd like you to share your perspective with the viewers as well. Do you see Team Unity adapting to the series and actually recognizing their mistakes from the first game? Because you said that they had a pretty fine draft. They just had to chill and they could win the game. Yet they didn't.
They have selected blue team, which is very odd for me here looking at this, because I think for me the problem last game was low-key Wind. In that, you know, if Wind is just chilling up in that top, ooh, okay, fun. But if Wind was chilling up top, it's okay. But the fact that he falls behind and is like sort of scrapping the Darius, not only is like scrapping Darius in lane and gets killed that one time and then ganked, but also the fight. There was a fight around about the Herald wherein he's fighting the Darius sort of before that major actual skirmish happens, and then Darius just turns up with full stacks. It's like, okay, things like this made the game a lot harder for Back2TheGame. For Unity even. I wasn't worried about a similar situation. I thought, look, we've seen Wind go crazy with it. If you can just get Wind something he's comfortable on, basically his Cassante or his Olaf, yeah, he's going to be chilling. And as we saw on Wednesday, he knows how to play Olaf in multiple ways. He knows what the game needs from him at any given situation. He's not just all run in all the time. That's why he's one of the GOAT Olafs to ever do it. If we get him on something comfortable, this is going to be great. But on blue side, there's always the chance that he just gets counterpicked, and then we have the same thing again. Like if he picks Cassante and Accorda locks in Darius, this is a problem.
Yeah, that it is. And it's not that Wind is like God among men and
he is on Olaf.
I mean, yeah, but it isn't that Koz is like a silver player. Koz is also a very strong carry player in his own rights, and his counterpicks, we saw them, how much they matter, even if they're kind of unconventional or they don't scale that well. He knows how to pilot those champions, and he knows what his team needs from him in order to carry this game. Now, I wanna stay on that Ziggs a little bit, because he is a pick that kind of stops the game from being properly played. He can burn waves, he's uninteractive with the enemy team, lots of range. Even if you start losing skirmishes, suddenly you see a super mega inferno bomb and hey, too bad, you can't really push. So what do you think about this pick, and is the Silas maybe the way to kind of counter it?
Oh, the Silas not at all, but I'm thinking this is probably a bot lane Ziggs coming on through here. I'm not sure if Neza has actually played that yet in the tournament though. Also, let's be known, a Poppy ban is for sure coming through. That there it is. I'm the goat.
Yeah.
Not letting Jackie have that one again, especially not with a Ziggs. I wonder if there's a world they do Ziggs Senna. I don't even know. But for Ziggs for itself, the whole point of Ziggs is getting early turrets and moving around the map. The champion is kind of balanced around the fact that he's going to just have 2k more than the enemy bot lane at the 15-minute mark, and so you kind of do have to do that. You have to make sure that you are moving around and getting that gold. We have seen teams lock in Ziggs and then just get shut down and not be able to do that. And suddenly it's like, oh, I'd kind of rather have just had an ADC, or I'd rather have just had a different poke mage in the mid lane. So it is something to be aware of. But we have seen that Neza and Jerky and Lofen and Accorda have been very good at moving around the map. We saw both supports roaming a lot, and we saw both ADCs moving when they needed to, going to join fights. So both teams understand the map pretty well. And again, that makes it interesting, because if Back2TheGame didn't, Unity could just run all over the place. If Unity didn't, they would get nothing going. So now the question is, are Back2TheGame going to be able to either stop them doing their thing, or read what they're going to do and then match it or counter it, or whatever the case may be? There's a fair few options.
The Zorgan, once again, very mobile, very big range of trying and reach the enemy team, and a quite big amount of crowd control when if you actually are able to reach the enemy backline, because there's the charm, the whole duration, then the knock up. You do create a lot of space for your team. Now, I do like the Nautilus as an answer also.
Is it Cassante Senna? That's Probably not. Actually, it's definitely not Senna because the cleaver's not going to be... Don't do it. It's messed up.
It's Senna. Okay, so okay, you know what's the thing with Senna? You don't need the cleaver.
Probably not. Well, maybe. So, yeah, maybe not now that you don't have an AD. Again, just the big major point about Senna, that's why I said Cassante Senna specifically, is because you need frontline for this to work. Senna has insane value on her Q and her ult because they double dip. Like, if you have a tank if it's Senna, tank, enemy carry, right? Sort of 4 in a row, that Q's going crazy, even not in the perfect situation. Not only is it increasing your team's health, it is decreasing the enemy team's health. You are double dipping. Same with the ult. So you do need a front line to be able to back to front with. We have not seen it paired up with the Ziggs quite just yet, but it's a double range lane. You will have good wave control, which could help you set up for things like those early plates at the cost of needing to extend on a Ziggs Senna lane. So we may end up seeing that they don't actually look for those plays and they just try to play to freeze and deny as much as possible, because if they step up, it's pretty over.
When there's always the possibility that Senna lines with the Ziggs and if the Ziggs gets, you know, the Tear of the Goddess plus the Lost Chapter, and then she just start roaming around, getting souls from all camps from Shaibu, making sure to overload the other side of the map. So I could see that being a possibility. And in that case, maybe you build the cleaver, because then you free up an extra item slot for the Jarvan. The Jarvan just goes for the Eclipse and into whatever other skirmish item he wants to build. And then it has some use. But I could see in this game just going for the full Enchanter Senna, you know, the Echoes of Helia into the Moonstone, into the Dawn Core, and the whole 9 yards, so that suddenly a skirmish is about to erupt, you just use your ulti preemptively, and your team has 50% more health just by with your ultimate and your items.
So that is a good point, in that the reason that Senna has come up into a bit more prominence recently is because of the changes, the little mini rework that she got a bit tacked down on 4.17, a couple of nerfs, or 14.17 even, a couple of nerfs, but you know, still pretty good in terms of affecting the Enchanter build, where you go for things like the Dawn Core, right? We did not see that come out from Jerky either time. My concern here is that you'll be lacking in damage a little bit if you have the Ziggs and Aurora as your only damage dealers, and Senna goes for the full Enchanter type beat. But at the same time, yeah, if you're like rushing a Cleaver, for example, and you don't actually have AD threats, I don't know. It's ultimately going to come down to how much power the Aurora can put out. And I do believe, and I will double check, that they picked Aurora the first time around, the first Senna game that they had. And I think it was banned right after that. So what was it? We come through on here, and where was the Senna game? It's like, look, oh, it's slightly off the edge. Yeah, they pick up the Senna there. And wait, no, it was where's the first one? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was Aurora Senna. And it was sort of more of the same in terms of the Aurora damage wasn't the craziest, but it's just you have someone who is just hitting through people. In the same way that the Senna Q goes through tanks and hits backlines, so does Aurora's. So maybe that's enough damage. I don't know. Grasp coming out from Jerky makes me think he's just doing the same build of that sort of, you know, slightly tanky, just general damage utility as opposed to Enchanter support.
30 seconds until
I mean, if you're gonna go towards that general tanky build, I'd love to see after the Cleaver the Solari, because you are getting engaged upon, right? You have the Sejuani, Camille, Rakan, and the Silas. This is full dive comp for the enemy team. So instead of going for the Hurricane, which should be fine, there's a lot of melees there. It's such an expensive item where you could have completed the whole of the Solari plus an extra, I don't know, 2 Ruby Crystals in the same time. So suddenly you're tanky, way tankier with the Grasp as well, so they can engage on you. If they engage on your team, you can heal them, you can then cleave them, and also you can provide more effective HP, so they survive the initial dive attempt, and then you can turn with your own spells and try, you know, to completely obliterate them.
Which way around it does end up being is one thing that was important to note as well. And the last time that we saw this composition come on through was that the Cassante of Wind putting just, you know, raw numbers up on the board, as he was basically 1v3ing every single fight, and it was really allowing, you know, perfectly for Unity to get what they needed. There was no world where Jerky and Nezza could get dove. little bit of flashes traded there, and it does actually work out in Accorder's favor. I'd much rather have the, immobile Senna than the immobile Rakan. Last time around that we saw the Senna pick come on through, or at least in one of the games, there was a very aggressive all-in level 1 to stop any future engages coming on through. That has not happened. Now Accorder's traded a small amount of health, which he can heal back up, in exchange for Jerky not having flash. Couple that with the fact that Accorder has gone for Glacial Augment, and he has no intention of getting poked out and taking Guardian. He's like, no, I'm just going to hit the W now. And that one lands, Jerky's in trouble.
Yep. There's an invade as well, or at least a gank attempt going on from Jerky. He's in the middle lane, they flash. Oh, and there's a third blood. It's not PG-13, so we didn't have
to. You can't show absolute horror. But the flashes were exchanged, all of them being used in Flash. That's good. Losing that one out as well. Truthfully, if we're being honest, I don't really know a lot about Aurora mid and the scaling on that one. I mean, I know that she's very good in top lane when it comes to kiting out and spacing on tanks. But versus something like a Silas who can just dash and get on top of you, I think that could be a bit of a problem, right? If your plan is to use the move speed to kite back and he's just dash, 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 it could be a little bit dangerous. You want to be able to sustain off the passive, and he's just bursting you 24/7.
That's true. The rest of the game is still pretty chill, of course. Ziggs getting the push early in the game. If you AoE, you're kind of dropping a couple of CS, but you're kind of fine with that. You don't really want to be too overextended, at least when your jungle is not on your side. Thankfully for them, Jarvan is in the bot side of the river right now, securing the first couple grab, and he's looking into the mid lane again. Sizzy no flash.
Oh, he missed the knockup! It's not connected, but Deathlock does have the move speed coming through from the passive and can just walk away. Not even going to try chase that one down. Says, no, I'll just do a little pullback and make sure I get my minions. So the kill is picked up. It does go on over to Scheibel, though. So it's now 1 kill apiece for jungler. No real advantage picked up by either mid laner. Although Sisyph used his teleport after getting the kill before getting the assist. So he's not going to be able to TP back to the lane right away, which means that Deathlock is going to be able to push that wave out and get a really comfortable reset as well.
Yep. Very, actually lane saved, I'd say, for Deathlock right now. The flashes are equalized. The lane is fine, the items are more or less the same. I mean, he has a better buy right now. Scheibel is looking to try and sneak his way into the top side, but there is a very nice ward from Cozy, but it seems that they know. Wind is trying to find the angle.
Is it knock up? Oh, it does! Yeah, that one on through, but flash available for Cozy in the worst case of situations, and Scheibel is pretty far away, but yeah, it's nice that Wind pulls that one through. Very difficult, when you're dealing with dashes and when the way that CCs interact with Camille's E are very odd. So it's showing at least that, Wind does sort of know how to set up for a gank against a Camille. It can be very easy for her to just tank ACC whilst the chains are in the air, and then she can just hook shot straight out. And that will not be the case this time around, although Cozy does still live. TP was burned as well. Wind just took a reset, teleports back up to lane. Not sure what the state of the wave was, if it's coming back to him or not, but presumably he used that TP with good reason, as he has now got himself a Sheen. So he's looking to take some pretty aggressive trades up there, but over on the bot lane, BF Sword first buy for Lofen. That's what you want when you're playing that Misfortune. And Neza looks like he's come through. Is he going to get the chapter or something? He's going to get, mana and AP, sure. So he's playing for the wave, but in an all-in, Neza's in a lot of trouble as now. Gank comes on through to mid. Deathlock, he just sort of walks this one out, but he is going to lose a lot of health in the process. Oh, he gets forced away from his turret.
The ultimate.
Nah, he's chilling.
Away.
He's got move speed.
Cozy used his ultimate as well, as did Wind, and now Cozy can just teleport back into the lane, have a little bit more items, more HP, and I think it works pretty well in his favor, especially with both of their flashes being down.
I have learned this firsthand. There's a really weird interaction with Cassante ult and Camille E, where it sort of like pushes you. She can like jump off the wall, but still then get pushed back really far forward. Just keep an eye on that. That there's going to come a time, or potentially, where we think that Camille's out and then just gets yeeted halfway across the map because it's just weird. But they do trade also, as you said, and that's a lot of kill threat for Wind lost right now as the Drake actually gets pushed off. Disengaged, dissuaded.
Okay. I have a question about the interaction. If Camille doesn't start like pulling herself towards the wall, I think and you use the ultimate, she pulls herself towards the wall afterwards, right?
It depends on when the chains hit, as Neza gets engaged on all-in, like we said, a bit scary. Does manage to get out of life for now, but keep an eye as Lofen should be close to level 6, actually, as looks like Neza is as well, and then we could end up just dying to a bullet. Time off rip with Scheibel in the area, pushing the wave on through and defending the boys. Does mean that Neza and Jerky will be able to clear out that wave and look for a reset. Regarding the Camille thing, it depends on when the hook hits the wall, because the hook hitting the wall is not considered a movement ability. Like, most routes will stop you trying to cast a movement ability. Deathlock is in a bit of trouble, should be in a bit of trouble here. Actually moving out quite nicely. Now caught up though in his own ult from Scissor. Dashes to the other side and is brought down by a quarter. Scissor so low on the health bars. Not a lot Jerky can do about it. Not level 6, Scalding Shadow not going to be available. Jungler's now arriving. Scheibel getting good damage on through, but not really a lot he can do either. Doesn't have items, doesn't have Cataclysm. And all the members of Back to the Game can sort of just walk away happy with their 1 kill.
Yeah, extremely happy, especially considering that Sisyph almost ended up dropping, but still maintains his flash. Also, I think they're happy with more than that. Look at the top lane right now. The disparity is kind of huge. 25 CS with Cassante lane swapping in the mid lane. We were selling win stocks before the series started, but Kozi, I think, is short trading or whatever it's called.
Yeah, short stuff. Yeah. We love the big short. We have seen this match up top before, and it was Big versus someone, I believe. Yeah, it was actually Cozy that was who this was playing against, where, you know, it was a B1 Aurora that got sent top for Chachi, and Cozy said, cool, just slams in Camille and starts farming him. Like, not really a lot that Aurora can do versus a Camille. If they jump on top of you, you kind of just die. Similar to what I was saying about the Silas, right? You can't kite it, you can't dash out. You kind of just die, and her cooldowns are short enough in that she can go in, take a big trade, you know, third of your health, whatever, back off, and then do it again before you have a chance to heal up from that passive. So Deathlock does need to be careful up here, and I think that's why we actually end up just moving Jerky up as well, because we can leave Neza in a 1v1 lane. He's okay with that. Aurora is going to need a bit of help.
There it is.
Ultimatum.
Aurora gets caught, can dash away. We'll have to flash, but Cozy still looking for more.
Deathlock moving back on through. Does manage to force a flash out of a quarter now that Scheibel has arrived, and Cozy's trying to see what they can find, but without the ultimatum, they won't get much more. They go down, but now more members arrive. Shazka and Sizz have come up through the river, but they're seeming to get a little bit dissuaded by wind. Coming in on the collapse, Pinsir will move them through back into their own jungle. And it looks like all these solos are going to come ahead and sit under that tier 1 turret. No further fighting to be had. And it is just Cozy that goes down. Of course, whilst this is all going on, though, there is a Ziggs pushing on the bot wave. He gets a plate, and he's also going to cancel the recall of Lofen to get a bit of control of the wave. But Lofen, TP on the MF, will make sure that another wave does not fall, another plate is not taken by Neza.
Yeah, just realized, just saw the TP on the MF, just to make sure that you're matching the Ziggs. That means you have less battle summoners to play with, but Adalbert should prove handy when you're trying to dissuade the Ziggs from taking all of your plates in a single push. On the top side, I thought it was gonna go extremely well for Cozy and Calder. Unfortunately for them, they just lacked the damage to execute the Aurora, and Jerky being there as well, make sure that they do get the kill for themselves.
You know, once Cozy has a couple more points in the E, if the E lands, and with Triforce as well, you do actually have like all-in damage in terms of ulting someone and just autoing them inside your ult. But before that, you know, especially before Triforce as well, even with the Triforce, you are just looking to take short trades, just Q someone back out, and then all in. The 100 to 0, especially when Deathlock can, you know, go invisible and all that, that's like a little bit harder. So a bit of an overforce, but we may end up trying it again as both teams make their way towards the Herald and River. That's not even the Herald, it's the Grubs. As one is taken away, picked up by Back2TheGame. Shazka at least manages to get that XP, and a smite will come on through to secure the second. So 5 Grubs going on over. Jerky gets all the souls though. It's actually very big when you're playing Senna to make sure you move around to jungle camps. But at least 1 Grub is picked up there for Unity, and only 1. So XP secured for Scheibel, and the second little Void Might is denied. Now we have to be a bit careful though. Neza teleporting into bot lane to try and push that one out as the members of Back2TheGame move down the map. Neza could have just teleported into a bit of a 1v2, maybe 1v3 situation.
Yeah. Pretty nice to get all those souls. Me as a Senna player can confirm every time that I have to stay bot when the grabs are going on. I feel that slight kick of depression not kicking in. There's a seasonal depression and there's the missing grabs depression. Happens. So yep, now the Drake is the next neutral objective. The game is pretty even between those two teams. 400 goals is all that kind of separates them, and a few completed items which are in favor of Team Unity.
Jerky's just the best player on the server. Okay, so it's something that I wanted to mention earlier, but forgot. Much how I forgot to do it on Wednesday. It's just that I hadn't been paying attention to if Jerky was walking around for camps, right?
Yeah.
Once upon a time when Reckless was the best center in the world, people ask like, how do you just have more, but say, how do you have more stacks than everyone else? Like every time we look, you just have more stacks. It's all an engage on top means that Wind gets brought down low, but another center ult will come through, not quite necessary, but Wind does stay alive. There's now potential for a fight in River. Scheibel does drag on in, hasn't committed a Cataclysm quite just yet, waits for the team instead. Reckless said like, how'd you get so many souls? He's like, dude, I just walk around the jungle, I just follow my junglers, I get camps. And I haven't been paying attention to if Jerky has been doing that, but the one time I looked, he was doing it. So shout out Jerky, he's getting the souls in. Because the Drake is now contested. Brought down pretty low, both junglers do have smite. Shaska looks to engage, bash on forward, will connect onto Scheibel, who's instantly brought down by a bullet time. A nice bomb will trade back a fair amount of damage, but it will not take down any targets yet. Healing potential is there for Sisyph and Lofen, who's got that Vamp Scepter. Tagged up by a root, but in fog means that no follow-up autos can come through. Sisyph also low, but can dash away from the bombs, and everyone will end up getting out alive there with that dragon secured as well.
Yeah, that Drake going towards the side of Back to the Game must feel extremely nice for them, especially considering that they do have, I think, a slightly better front to back. I look at Team Unity, they do have a lot of burst, but not a lot of stable damage. All that DPS coming through is kind of missing there. And if you actually have the opportunity to skip a few steps, to not interact with the enemy team for a bit, hold the flock.
Oh, hang about could be in a bit of trouble here. Ooh, Sisyph though, able to just dash across his own Aurora ult and simply walk on out. Makes it
That's how you do it.
Nice and easy.
That's how you do it, he says. I really like the symbiotic boots, by the way, on Calder as well. Gives him that slight little movement speed. We'll give him the free upgrades pretty soon and all those resets to try and be everywhere on the map. Now the Herald, it started, but Cozy is still not moving from top.
I just want to trade for turret instead if he doesn't think he can help out here. Accorda is a little caught, but does have, of course, Cozy there with him. Now the remainder of Back to the Game arrive. Will the smite come on through? Yes, it is. Scheibel is able to secure that Herald, but may be taken down. Ultimates are starting to be deployed. The quickness gets a good couple of charms out, and Scheibel just actually manages to live through the fight. Now Wind all out, trying to find himself some damage. A massive value center ult connects onto about 8 members and makes a pretty hefty swing. Cassante still trying to look forward, but not commit over that hit. And even though actually, yeah, all just ends up being in Unity's favor there. That's a Herald and 2 kills.
Yeah, I'm not sure what did Back to the Game thought. I think that was a mistake in Herald over there. Not sure he wanted to use it, at least immediately. Yeah, I'm not sure what Back to the Game actually thought. They didn't have the MF ultimate.
Oh god. That's not looking good. It's a bit done as Accorda actually commits back into the fight. Does not flag drag out. He believes in the power of his healing from his Divine Thunder and from Jerky, which means he will get 1 kill. Can't quite get the second. Now Jerky trying to sustain up as well. Flash forward, but it's into a root under the turret, and it means that Lofen will go down, but at least secures a shutdown onto Jerky first, who nearly managed to get all 3.
Yeah, they're low and getting all those kills, I think, feels pretty nicely, especially considering that you did save the tower as well. For the time being, of course, Neza can just teleport, explosive surge from the tower, job's done, nothing else to do over there. Already secured the tier 1, but it's not even the first tower. And you spent so much and you kind of lost the fight that you won previously, right? So you spent so much on the Herald, you got the kills, and then it's all gone to naught with you not even securing the first tower of the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can't sit here and say like, oh, they got Herald and 2 kills. This is a bad thing, but it does end up being pretty even, right? We get the first 2 kills and then we just lose 2 more, but we trade 2 back, so it's like 1 kill advantage, 2 kill advantage, and we do eventually get the turret, but as you said, it costs the Herald, and as a Ziggs team, you're kind of meant to be able to get turrets without having to use that thing. You're meant to use that for something a bit more custom later on. I will say though, again, I respect that Scheibel, when he jumps in here, he ults in, and you can just flag drag out, right? You could just leave. But he respects the healing from his Divine Sunderer and from Jerky as well, coming through on that Q. But he wants to stick in and try the fight. He wants to try and win it. And that's the kind of mentality I want to see from players in my league games. And especially on champions who build like Divine Sunderer, especially on champions like Volibear, right? Where one tiny heal, if you have other sources of healing, can make such a massive difference because it can keep you alive just long enough to get another one, right? You know, if you pop a center Q and then Scheibel just dies instantly afterwards, the Q didn't do a lot. But if you pop a center Q and it keeps Scheibel alive a second longer, and that 1 second his Sunderer comes up, which keeps him alive 3 seconds longer, which means that Jerky's Q comes back up and so on, right? Like there's small amounts of healing can really add up in a compounding way. And so I respect that Scheibel's trying to commit into that fight. He's trying to get it done. He's not going to run. As now he walks up into the bot lane, try and just finish off this turret with a fair few members of Unity.
Yeah, they did overload. They're not losing much though. Their mid lane tier 1 is still pretty healthy, so the misfortune not the greatest tower getter. Oh, that's the hexagon demand though. For some reason, not sure why. Oh,
Wind could have a good situation set up here. He needs to stack some Qs, but he will go ahead and commit that ultimate. Now moving on in, he ends up dashing onto the minions, but even with the center, oh, he's backing away. He's a little bit scared potentially of a Q2. Now needs to be a bit worried. Cozy can stack 1 Q on the wave, Q or E in onto a turret, but a dodge through from Wind will keep him alive for just a second. Not going to have that Q2 connect onto him, and now he can look to throw out some slows onto Cozy. Cozy's going to get the hook shot back up eventually, but it's not soon enough as Deathlock makes their way on over the wall and is able to trade back that kill. Again, if I'm Wind there, I'm sort of trying for the all-in. I'm trying to commit to that fight, but he knows the Deathlock's coming, he knows his limits, and he plays it slow, he backs it out, he baits a couple of E's, because the team is in good communication. And once he's got that fight, he can reset and TP down towards the Drake. It's secured by Shazkia, as another one goes over to back to the game, but now a fight will turn around in earnest. 2 Cataclysms come on out. Don't know which one came from who, but I do know that Deathlock has arrived as well, teleporting on through to clean up some members of the bot lane, and Sizzit is chased down as well. It is just Shazkia left standing at this point, and whilst Cozy does teleport in, it is only down to the bot lane to try and pick up a turret very quickly because the rest of the team have fallen, and it's a 4-for-1 in favor of Team Unity.
And you're getting the second Drake, but it's a very late Drake. You're not trading anyone with a soul point anytime soon. And meanwhile, Team Unity is starting to siege the mid lane tier 2 as well. There's a flag to provide a little bit more attack speed for your team. And you're getting more and more on the map. The gold lead starts to stack. And even though you're playing a very bursty comp, your burst might just be enough for you to just go through everyone's HP bars.
And again, it's the problem for Unity is getting one-tapped. If they live for a fight, and they have a lot of ways to stall with things like you know, the Aurora E and her ult and whatnot, and CC's coming on through. Anytime you live, that is a time where another heal can come out from one of the members, or the center Q can come, the center ult can come, and we've just seen these. This is some of the best, like, this is just some of the best center comp front to back play that I have seen in such a long time. It's very well known that like that's what center does, and that's how you play center. But I never see it executed so well. And again, to see that Jerky is moving his way around, picking up souls, you know, playing for that as well. It's just great to see that the understanding is completely here from Unity. And again, things just like, you know, the way that Wind played that fight out top, because, you know, it's communicated Deathlock is coming. It sounds really simple, like, oh, his teammate said he was going to come and he came. But like, you'd be surprised at how often this one gets fumbled. So I'm having a great time with this team. I want to see them win this game because I don't want to stop watching Unity anytime soon.
I mean, you sound a little bit biased, but it's fine.
I'll be biased, bro. I've been enjoying my games. Is that a crime? Lock me up, bro.
I mean, I like the build path right now from the Senate. It looks like she'll go towards the side of the Solari, indeed.
I think actually this is crazy. Oh, that does go out of that, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I think they went Bow in one of the games before, which was crazy, but...
Bow?
Yeah. I can actually look it up as well. That game was
before, but I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan over there. Camille is fighting it out with Cassandra, and there's a Rakan coming.
They didn't go Bow, I lied. They built a steel sigil. I don't know what that was going into. As we do actually end up getting that kill picked up over on the bot side. A quarter has arrived. Could there be a bit of an exchange on mid? Hard to say, because we don't really want to engage in onto Shazkia anytime soon. Split pushing is definitely the threat for this comp here. because what Unity want, again, they want front to back. They want tanks hitting tanks. They want center hitting everyone. If you have a Camille splitting up a Storm in the bot lane, it's going to be a bit harder to find that. As Cozy now draws 2 members down and is simply able to walk away. Oh my god, it's not just... I thought it was just a turret. I didn't realize that Deathlock was there. There were so many portraits from the Back to the Game side on top of each other. You can't even see them sneaking out from under that one. And we don't see them sneak anywhere. Deathlock is taken away. This could, in theory, end up leading towards a bit of a scary Baron, but it is worth knowing, you know, Back to the Game, they don't have the fastest Baron. It's an MF, she can't reapply her love tap, so hitting the same target isn't getting a huge amount of damage. No attack speed refresh or anything like that, and it's a pretty burst-heavy Silas as well. Not like there's a Leandries as Wind makes his way on over to the side, but this is just an uncontested bot lane. Look at that, we've just got Cozy moving on in towards the inhibitor. He's just going to get that. So Unity need to find a lot here, and they need to find it fast. Scheibel staying alive in the fight is forced to flash out whilst Wind continues to commit. A lot of CC and a lot of knockups will keep the damage flowing as Jerky keeps the health bars high. Deathlock actually managed to respawn in time. He defends the bot lane turret. The inhibitor turret doesn't even fall, let alone the inhib, and that means that we can continue the fight. Nobody has to back off yet, and Shazky is brought down low. The Mega Inferno Bomb is available. It can be used to take down Shazky if necessary. I think the hit comes on out. It will be dodged, but Shazky knows they're going down. The kill is picked up. A little bit of time is bought, and Unity make their way on towards the Baron, but so do Back to the Game.
Let's see, because there's very, very late to play for the Baron. There's a teleport from whom, that's Loden. Coming back to the Fairy Cozy, can connect from the top side, but the Camille in a 1v5 scenario is not the best Camille to have. And Sisyph will teleport, but they don't have a jungler.
Well, hang on though, because Sisyph did teleport in on a flank as well. Health bars are low, and the damage on the Baron is even lower, so a committal comes on through. There are a lot of circles saying that you cannot leave, but Wind is staying high in health. Multiple members from Unity, but again, Wind is just alive. He manages to tear up the melees at least and pick up 3 kills for the team, but Lofen stays alive, and a bullet time will dissuade multiple members of the fight. How does everyone in this game have a big circle that says you can't leave? We've got Aurora, we've got Camille, we've got Jarvan, and then we've got Silas stealing one of them. I don't know how play-by-plays do this thing, man. I'm confused. I don't know what happened in that fight. Everyone just jumped on top of each other, and the team with the center won.
It's fine, man. We get some things, they get something else. The callers get the smart brains, the play-by-plays get the fast brains. So, you know, it's a trade-off. But, you know what else we have here? We have a pretty even game. We're 25 minutes in. You might be seeing a 70-11 kill score. But the goal says a different story, and we amount the Drakes as well. I'd say that there is a slight lead for Back to the Game, but Team Unity wants to change that. They are starting again the Baron.
I don't love the start again. It must be said the damage again isn't really that high, especially without Deathlock, who's currently playing around the back, sort of trying to look for a potential flank or a counter engage. As the Baron is brought down to about half health. Deathlock has tried to find the counter engage, and they've got it. A quarter is taken on down, and the rest of the Unity will follow in suit. Scheibel diving on through to take out Lofen. Cozy has now teleported and will be able to hit some of the backline, securing Jerky, but Neza is untouched and miles away. Sisyph dashing on in. He's only going to be fighting Wind, who manages to stay alive. Would look to try and turn this around, but the Triforce true damage coming out from Cozy is much too much. And they will be able to secure all of Unity except for Neza. Neza, though, moving away from the Baron, he has a good chance here. The health bars are pretty low here. Not a lot of sustain coming on through. He could try to poke them off if he really wanted to, but I think he's just going to end up giving this.
It's 2 melees together with the Sejuani. I think the damage is more than enough for them to...
He's a Ziggs, he can just poke, throw some Qs. Look how low Shazq is. He doesn't even have to hit. If it hits the Baron, it could splash, it could AoE.
Oh, there it is.
This is too little too late, bros. If Nezel just walks up early, I think he's okay. Of course, there's always the risk, you know, Cozy's just going to Eon on him and he's going to die, sure. But if that's going to happen anyway, you might as well try to get a little bit of poke off first. As now what's happened is he's just taken a very awkward respawn, which gives plenty of time for Back to the Game to use their Baron and get set up on the map, ready to push.
I mean, nothing I can say against that. Honestly, I really love Akode's swag move. I don't know if you saw it. Like, he used the ultimate, he dashed through the Ziggs, never looked back, never used the rest of his spells. Pretty chad of him, not gonna lie. But now with the Baron, The gold lead is not big still, but it starts mothering. There are some item completions over there. I'm looking at 3.5 items for the Misfortune. Still not nowhere near close completing, at least close to completing the Death Cup, but still not there. For Neza, 2 items for both of the supports. Of course, Senna's items a little bit more expensive, but so much more effective HP is being generated just by the Rakan's items. And there's an engage in the mid lane.
Alright, all the hang about the Glacier Prison, not quite going to connect, but the chains will. Scissor follows up and is able to take down Neza. Once again, the Wind is trying to get stuck in the fight, but he's just bursted
still alive.
out. We can't get the jerky sustained. And
Cozy
finds the 1v1.
No, it was a 1v2!
1v2, even better. He takes up both, and now it's just Jerky trying to hold. I've said it before, Jerky's the GOAT. I don't think he holds this one 1v4. As the engage comes on through, a quarter will find the knockup. And even though Cozy goes down, that is 5 dead members from Unity. Back to the game. Clean up inside the enemy base. They move on through to the Nexus, win the series in a 2-0 fashion, and continue their run here at the EUPL Season 3.
It looked like Team Unity's game until like 7 minutes ago, or even less, 5 minutes ago. You give Back to the Game an inch, they take a whole mile, and they'll go and meet the loser of Zero Dynasty and Big, who will be playing tomorrow. But yeah, they looked that they don't care what goes in the early game. They will just win out in the end.
They were happy to look for engages, happy to force, and they recognized what they need to do. Again, that final fight, Nez just getting bursted, a quarter gets Scheibel gets bursted, people are just getting tapped before any of that sort of long fight can happen. And they've recognized this, said, hey, you want to have your long fight with Cassante and Senna, right? No, we will simply force an engage, and if we don't, we have the Camille on split as well. So a great read of the situation, a great understanding of what they needed to do to take out Unity in this game.
Yep, that was excellent from them, but unfortunately, that also means that we're coming towards the end of today's broadcast. Of course, we're back here tomorrow with Back to the Game. Zero Dynasty taking on Big for the first spot in the finals of EPL Season 3. So from here today, we wish you a very lovely day, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Cheers.